Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to talk about my right career path. Such a common question, as Zach just mentioned. My name is Gina Covarrubias. And here is my outline for today. After a quick introduction, I'm going to talk to you about indecision, and I'm going to offer some decision-making tips for those of you who are watching today. And that will bring us right into talking about the right career path, in quotes. And I will wrap it up with a great conclusion. And once again, at any point in time, please feel free to put questions or comments in the chat. And Zach and I will address those at the end. So let's talk about me and my career path. This was certainly, being a life coach for engineers was never part of my vision. So about me, I have a bachelor's in aerospace engineering from Purdue University. I've got a master's in mechanical, and I worked as an engineer in the corporate environment, in the aerospace corporate environment, as well as academia and government. So I got certified as a life coach. It's been about a little over 2 years ago now. So why am I here today talking to all of you? Well, about 10 years ago, I went through a really tough time at work. I believe I was going through a depression, although I was never clinically diagnosed. And my health just gave out. It just tanked. My body said, I can't handle this anymore. I'm done. And it quit working. And that began a journey from one doctor to the next. And it was just a mess for a couple of years. Once I started recovering, I wanted to reevaluate who I am. What am I doing in this world? What are my strengths? What is my purpose for being? And that led me to creating my current business, which is called Deliberate Doing. So with Deliberate Doing, I am a life coach specifically for engineers in the STEM community. What I help them do is strategize a solution for their future. And what that means is some engineers are just kind of going through the motions and getting by, and life's okay, but they dream of a better career. I help them make that happen. Some engineers or other STEM professionals flat out don't like what they're doing. They don't see a way out. They feel stuck or disappointed, and they can't decide, what am I supposed to do now? So essentially what I do is I help people figure out, what do I do next? In the second part of my introduction, I want to briefly introduce what life coaching is, since many people really don't understand the concept. So life coaching is about neural pathways in the brain. It's about changing the neural pathways that are up here by offering you new information. So every time you have a thought or a belief, a very specific neural pathway lights up in your brain. The stronger you believe that thought or belief, the harder you believe it, the stronger the neural pathway is. So what I do is I help people change their neural pathways. I help them change what they're believing and what they're thinking, because that helps them live a happier life, a less stressful life. So the premise behind life coaching is that thoughts propagate all of our actions and the way we do things and the way we go about our business. So it's very important to know what you're thinking. There are two ways that us humans experience the world around us. The first way is through sensations, which start on your skin or inside the body, and they travel up to the brain for processing. What life coaching focuses on are your perceptions, which is the second way we experience our surroundings. What happens is the brain interprets the world around you. We call those perceptions or interpretations or beliefs. And the brain interprets what's going on around you and offers you thoughts and beliefs. So what life coaching does is it helps you unravel what it is you're believing, what it is you're thinking about the external world around you. Life coaching essentially is about strengthening and conditioning your mental wellness. And I really like this picture here on this slide, because what life coaching does is it forces you to take a hard look in the mirror to actually face who you are. So that being said, that sets the tone for the rest of today's presentation. Now let's get into indecision. Why are we so indecisive? Why is it so easy to say, I don't know, I don't know? Because number one, being indecisive is kind of like an indulgence. And for me, when I indulge, I go for pizza. That's my thing. I like desserts too, but my thing is pizza. So I thought a piece of pizza here would be appropriate. So indecision doesn't feel as good as pizza or eating a dessert, perhaps, but it does feel better than taking a risk. It does feel better than saying, well, this is what I'm going to decide to do, and therefore I have to act now. And now I have to be responsible, and now I have to commit. So indecision is a form of indulgence for our brains because it's familiar with the brain, and the brain likes to go to places, and it likes to go to neural pathways that it's familiar with. Number two, the second reason we're indecisive is out of safety. It allows you to avoid taking a risk, right? If you make a decision, you might have to do something new. After that decision is made, you may have to take action. You may have to meet new people. You may have to travel to new places. You may have to put yourself out there in the world, and you've never done that before. So indecision is a form of staying safe. And bias, that's the third reason why it's so hard for us to sometimes make decisions. We've been brought up in a culture that typically teaches us that decisions are either right or wrong. There's a best one, and you better make the right choice, or else. So between these three items, it's very easy for us to get caught in indecision and not even know it. The consequences of indecision are grave. Number one, you're fooling yourself. Indecision feels better than risk, and it feels better than taking responsibility. So you're kind of fooling yourself into believing you don't know the answer, but deep down, you really do. Number two, it's like building debt inside of your brain. Indecisions take up real estate space in your brain. They take up energy that you could be using towards something more productive. It's kind of like being on a hamster wheel. You revisit these unmade decisions over and over and over. You're burning energy, you're thinking and thinking, and you're moving nowhere. You're creating zero results for yourself, like your brain spinning on that hamster wheel. And some of the ways we do this is by telling ourselves, well, maybe I might want to try that. Well, it's possible, but I don't know, because what if that thing doesn't work out the way I thought? So I better just keep thinking about it. Okay, so when you do that sort of exercise, your brain is going to burn out before you ever make a decision. So let's talk about what is a decision. So this is section 3, decision-making tips. Number one, you need to know what a decision actually is. It's a commitment. It's something that you want and that you own with full intent to follow through. It's a 100% commitment. That means there's no looking back. There's no second guessing yourself, and there is no what if. That is not allowed when you make a decision and commit to it. You are solely focused on the future, and you're not thinking about the past. Decisions are told to other people. You write them down. You don't hide them from other people. You live your decision. You breathe it. You embrace it. That's what it means to make a decision. So I'm going to throw out a silly example here from my past life. I remember there was a time where I kind of got back together with an ex-boyfriend that I broke up with, but I didn't tell anybody about it. I just thought, you know what, I'm going to get back together with him, but I'm just going to kind of let people see us out together and let them come to their own conclusion. Okay, that is not a decision, everybody. A decision you commit to 100%. So here are a couple of tips for you to think about as you need to make a decision in your life. Number one, If you're undecided and you have different options to choose something, ask yourself, hey, if all of these choices are going to give me amazing positive results, which one would I prefer? And then the second tip on number one, try asking yourself when making a decision, what if I would be learning about things that I don't want or that I don't like? Do you see any value in that? Is that valuable to you? And for some of you, you're going to say, yeah, it's just as important for me to know what I don't want as it is to know what I do want. The second decision-making tip, decisions, hopefully, ideally, are produced from positive emotions, because when they are, they will yield you positive results. When you make a decision out of a negative emotion, let's say out of frustration or resentment or anger, usually it's not going to yield you a positive result. So what comes to mind for me is I've known people in the past, and I've done this before, who have left a job because they were frustrated and they didn't like the people they were working with, or they wanted to get away from the boss and they wanted to run away and try to find greener grass on the other side. And the problem with doing that is that all those negatives that you see in your current position, you're going to see them in the next position and the one after that, and so on, because you're taking the same brain with you. So it's very important to know. Number three, and perhaps this is the most important decision-making tip I can offer you. Be open to the idea that decisions are not right or wrong. Maybe decisions just are. And what I'd like to wrap up this slide with in the bottom is that it's not necessarily the decision as much as your response to it. Once you make a decision, you have a choice on whether or not you're going to commit, whether or not you're going to follow through, whether or not you're going to be all in 100%. This leads us to talking about our right career path, which so many of us have tried finding. What is my right path? Okay, this is really a bad question for any of you to be asking yourself. It's not a valid question to ask. It's very, very self-limiting, because this question assumes that there's only one right answer and that there are many wrong answers and there are many wrong paths out there. And boy, you better pick the right one. This question gives you pressure to choose the right one. Otherwise, you might pay a big price, right? Isn't that what we tell ourselves? Isn't that what other people tell us? Choose the right one or else. We all suffered, I'm sure, from analysis paralysis at one point in time. Overthinking and overanalyzing to the point where you're just stuck. And then hypervigilance and paranoia. Some of us, when we're looking for job descriptions and we're looking for that perfect job, we analyze and meticulously dissect what that job description says, right? When we're looking at it, we want to know exactly what it is that's being asked of us. And we need to figure out if that's going to fit us or not. So asking what is my right career path is not valid, and it's really a terrible question. At the very end of our presentation today, Zach and I are offering you more relevant and positive questions for you to ask yourself. So what I'd like to talk about next is your career purpose, and this is very relevant to your career path. Why do we work in the first place? Let's take a step back and think about, why am I going to work? Well, what I'm offering you is here, you're going to work because number one, you're serving, number two, you're developing yourself, and number three, you're going to leave a legacy. Most of us, I would argue, think we go to work because we want the money, we want the benefits, we want the prestige, we want the titles. If those destinations are your goals, if that's what you're chasing, then you're missing the more profound reason for work. The more profound reason we work is these three reasons: service, development, and legacy. So the takeaway here is that the reason you work It's a whole journey through your life. It's not a destination. And we're going to look at all three of these here in detail. So when it comes to service, service is about contributing towards things, towards ideas, towards other people. You get to participate in work in something greater than you as an individual. And the third bullet, you get to have the opportunity to rise above the conflict that's going on around you. You have the opportunity to rise above the tension and to be better than the difficult personalities that are around you. It's very challenging, and that takes a lot of emotional maturity. So I'd like to offer you to approach your work from a service attitude. So instead of asking yourself, what am I getting out of this job? Ask yourself, what can I put into this? Instead of asking, or instead of telling yourself, others aren't pulling their weight around here, ask yourself, how can I help other people succeed? How can I lift people up around me? Instead of saying, this isn't part of my job, ask yourself, where can I add value just for the sake of adding value, just because I can? And the last one, instead of wondering, how much is my raise going to be? Oh boy, was that common when I was an engineer. Ask yourself, how can I raise my own standards around here? That's what service is about. Let's talk about development. You go to work to develop yourself. You get to evolve your brain. You get to enhance your self-awareness and learn about who you are. You get to elevate your personal and professional skills. So what I'd like to offer you here when it comes to development is to try to practice being curious, try exploration, and being inquisitive at work instead of just being diligent and perhaps only doing above average. See how much you can push yourself. So for example, diligence on the left might look like, I'll just do it the way I was told. I'll use the standard. I'll use this outdated procedure, or I'll just wait and see what happens. But if you're curious and if you want to do some exploring and questioning, on the right, I offer some questions that you could think about while you're at work to create some challenges for you. Why are we doing it this way? Maybe I can create my own process or my own document or my own template. How might I be able to update some of these outdated things that we're using? How can I be more proactive? So this is the second reason that we work, is to help ourselves develop and essentially upgrade our brain to the next level. And the third reason we go to work is to leave a legacy. And what legacy means, what it involves, is understanding and manipulating your capabilities. You have to know what they are. You're seeking improvements around you, whether it's in people or things or processes. Legacy means you get to celebrate your originality and apply your brand and your authenticity. So here's the thing about your brand and your authenticity. Every single one of you has something unique to offer. You are all special in your own way, and it's your responsibility to figure out what that uniqueness is so you can bring it to the rest of the world. Legacy also involves maximizing your output, impacting other people, making an impact in the world, whatever it is you're doing, and leading yourself as a proactive change agent. Not sitting back and letting someone else do that for you, but being your own leader. So the key takeaway is to always leave your occupation in a turnkey status and always leave your employer in better shape than you found it. That is what legacy is about. So let me summarize what I've taught you today. Number one, we talked about indecision. What I taught you is that indecision is more comfortable than taking risks. You are doing the world a disservice by staying in indecision and hiding your gifts. When we want to stay comfortable and we want to stay in this bubble, and when we only want to do the things that we think are right or that will make us happy, we're not exploring and we're not pushing ourselves, and we're doing the world a disservice. Number two, when it comes to decisions, what I taught you is that the decision itself is not as important as who you become while executing it. Number three, when it comes to career path and the reasons we go to work, careers provide you a platform to serve others, to develop yourself, and to leave your legacy. So that brings us to today's conclusion of my portion of the presentation. Careers aren't about the right path or the wrong path. Careers are about overcoming obstacles and challenges that bury your capabilities. Avoiding obstacles and avoiding challenges prevents you from knowing how capable you really are. Now, I want you to take a look at this picture here. On the surface, you see that nice green grass on the top, right? And that green grass represents the world around you. And you deal with conflict and job changing and unplanned events, and you deal with difficult people, and you have desires and visions for the way you want your life to turn out. So all of these things are present there on the top. But what's underneath are things that you have not yet discovered. Okay, so you have hidden treasures, you have gifts, you have strengths, you have capabilities, you have authenticity, you have mysteries that are hidden that are yet to be found. Once again, if you try to stay comfortable and if you always want to do the thing that you think is right or easiest, you will never be able to uncover all of these hidden gems and gifts and capabilities that are sitting beneath the surface. They're all up here, but you won't know it unless you push yourself. And that means making decisions. This is the last slide of my presentation, so I would like to say thank you once again for those of you who are joining us today. You can reach me at gina@deliberatedoing.com. I have plenty of free resources on my website. I have an events page where I post free webinars just like what we're doing today, so visit my events page often. I have videos and a career blog for you guys. I have a free newsletter. I do teach a course. The course is not free. The course is called Overcoming Career Constraints, but if you'd like to watch class 1, that is also on my website. And I offer free coaching to anybody up front who is interested in learning more about themselves or about how they can develop themselves. I do invite all of you to connect with me on LinkedIn if you haven't yet. And I'd like to leave you with this final quote: the more you live in fear, the less you live in life. Now I'm going to turn it over to Zach, and he is going to walk you through his slides.
Oh man, Gina, thank you. I don't know about you guys. I love this kind of stuff. I geek out. I wanted to jump in so many times, Gina, and what you were sharing, but I didn't. I behaved the whole time. So, hey, for everyone out there, it's for my clients out there, I really love to interact with people. I would be doing this live if we could. And I can't see you, but you can see me. But get in that chat. Put some questions in there. What's brewing in your mind? We want to hear about it. We want to address that. I'm going to go through this quickly and just share a few more thoughts around this question. What is my right career path? And I'll tell you, if you were hoping for the specific answer to that question today, obviously we're not going to cover that for you. But if you need that, get with Gina, get with me. We can support you in the specific answer. But again, Zach White, I'm the founder of Owaco. It's the Oasis of Courage. And you see the website there. You can follow me on LinkedIn. But Gina, go ahead and change the slide. Let's jump into this. The first thing from my perspective that you want to remember is we're here to take action. Gina just walked you through some really powerful paradigms and mindsets of indecision. What is a decision and what are we doing with the purpose for work? And listen to what Og Mandino says. I love this guy, what he has to say right here. My dreams, I hope you have a dream. I'll pause right there. If you don't have a dream, start dreaming again. I want you to be like a little kid again and start dreaming. My dreams are worthless. My plans are dust. My goals are impossible. All are of no value unless they are followed by action. I will act now. When? Now. I will act now. And the truth is, great engineering leaders, in fact, all successful leaders in every discipline of life, have a decisive action taking approach to their life. Hesitation and indecision are going to crush you when it comes to getting the results that you desire and reaching those dreams. So, Gina already talked about the fact that right and wrong, air quotes, isn't a great frame for thinking about this question, what is my right career path? But I'll tell you that the wrong decision is better than no decision at all, because then we have a chance to actually go and learn in life. And analysis is a great skill. It's a great strength. It's what makes you a great engineer. But analysis is different than indecision. All right. Analysis is different than indecision. And the reality is, we want that growth mindset to say it's okay if I make what the world might call the wrong decision, because I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow. So you might be thinking, goodness, Zach, that's helpful, but not really. I'd love to take action quickly, but I don't know what to do. I don't know. How do I take action quickly when I don't know? And if you feel the angst of that, maybe you're sitting there right now for, just frustrated by this presentation. Like, Zach, this isn't helpful. Well, Gina, go ahead and switch the slide here. Let's talk about the antidote to that. If you feel stuck, if you don't know what to do, here's the truth. The antidote to indecision is you got to start making more decisions. So counterintuitive, but the antidote to indecision is to make more decisions. And I want you to start with the smallest first step. It's about going from no movement, the inertia of sitting still, and creating that first step, that 0 to 1. What is the first and smallest thing that you can do? And, think about who's the first person you could talk to get some more information. What's the next job that you might want to shadow to learn more about what you may want to do? This idea of widening the aperture. What are ways that you can get some exposure to more opportunities if you don't know what to do? Do you need to get a coach? Do you need to take that action to get help and get support on these questions and stop being a lone wolf all the time? The 40-70 rule. If you're not familiar with this, some people call it the Colin Powell rule. He made it famous with his statement that, if I have less than 40% of the information, then I need to do the work, take the next action steps to get more information and understanding about the decision in front of me. But if I have more than 70% of the information, then I've already waited too long to make the call. The incremental gains are not going to help me. Now, we're engineers. You may want to dive into that rule and pick it apart and say, hey, I can't make a decision on 70% of the information, Zach, blah, blah, blah. Hey, it's the heart of the principle, okay? When we're making these decisions, we don't need 100% of the information, and we don't need to see from here all the way to the ultimate finish line. Zig Ziglar is famous for saying, hey, you go as far as you can see. And from that point, you'll be able to see to go a bit further. Go as far as you can see. And from there, you'll be able to see to go a bit further. So to get out of this indecisiveness, if that's a habit for you, if that's a pattern in your life, and first of all, it is for a lot of engineers. You're not alone in that, but you can make that change. Start practicing decisiveness in all of your life. Okay. You don't know where to go to dinner tonight. Make a quick decision. You're not sure what to wear in the morning. Instead of agonizing over it, make a quick decision, right? You're not sure what word to use in this email that you've been rewriting over and over. Make a quick decision. Practice being decisive in areas outside your career. The antidote to indecision is to begin making more decisions. I want you to break this one idea down of what is my right career path. It shapes it as one really big decision. Instead, look at this as many small decisions. What's the next step to learn a bit more? What's the next step to meet somebody new who could mentor me or help me get experience and exposure to more opportunities? Gina, let's keep rolling. I want you to pay attention to a really important shift in the way that you think about any kind of decision, but this journey of life that Gina just talked us through. We all hear it. It might feel cliche, but it's a true statement. That's why you hear it so often, that life is about the journey, not the destination. But if you're like me, this is the way that I used to see that journey. Here I am in the middle of a crossroads or a key decision. And I feel this immense pressure that I need to somehow make that quote right decision that Gina already talked about that takes me towards success. My mission in life is to consistently make decisions that are going to take me towards ultimate success. And if I consistently do that, then I will be a success. I will have the things that I desire in life, and I'll be able to do the things that I want to do. But if I go the wrong way, it's going to take me toward failure. And I felt this pressure, like I'm sitting in between. And if I go the wrong direction, it might lead me toward failure instead of success. And if you have that feeling in your life that there's pressure, there's stress around what should I do? What's the right way to go? This idea that I have to make the right decisions to get towards success. I want you to hear me now. That is the complete false way to think about the journey of life. That's not our reality. That is a fallacy. The reality looks something more like this. Go ahead and change the slide, Gina. The reality is that you're standing here today, and on the road to your ultimate success in life, there will be setbacks. The world calls those failures. Every ultra successful person we could possibly point to in this conversation, the people that we idolize, the people who we want to be like, the people whose paths we want to model, our mentors, these people have all experienced failure on the journey. And when you recognize that getting a rejection, getting into a career path that you end up falling out of love with, getting underneath a boss that ends up not being someone that you want to work for anymore, these things happen. Failure happens on the journey to your ultimate success. And when you get away from this stigma that one direction is failure, the other direction is success, and recognize that we're just moving forward. We want to keep moving forward. Just keep taking that next step. Make that next small decision. You're going to have failure, and that's okay. Release yourself from the pressure that every step must be towards success. It is, even when there's failure along the way. The failure reality is that between you and your ultimate vision and dreams in life is that there's going to be setbacks. And inside of every failure is something that you may need to get to your ultimate success. It could be a key learning. It could be a key relationship. It could be a discovery about yourself that a great life coach like Gina could help you work through. How do I take that and transform and create breakthrough in my thinking as a result of that failure? Gina, go ahead and take it one more for me. Earlier, I said take action because life is short, but also take action because life is long. I'm going to continue that quote from Og Mandino. My procrastination, hands up if you're a procrastinator. I'm guilty sometimes too. We all fall into that place. My procrastination, which has held me back, was born of fear. And now I recognize this secret mind from the depths of all courageous hearts. Now I know that to conquer fear, I must always act without hesitation, and the flutters in my heart will vanish. Act without hesitation, and that stress, that flutter, that uncertainty vanishes. It's in motion that we experience courage and breakthrough. Look at these examples. Okay, it's completely normal and fine to experience a significant shift in your path years from now. So if you're on this webinar today, all of you out there, I can't see all your faces, but I hope that you're listening carefully right now. If you're making a key decision about your next step, I want you to recognize it's not your last decision. Vera Wang, for all the wedding lovers out there, didn't even start designing clothes until she was 39. Okay. And now is one of the biggest names in bridal fashion. Ray Kroc, our man from McDonald's, 51 when he first stepped foot into a hamburger chain that is now the largest on the planet. And Colonel Sanders was 62 when he first franchised KFC. So if you want to go into the restaurant business late in life, it seems to work for some of these guys. And Robert Noyce, we're engineers, so a great example for us in the technical space, founder of Intel. All right. He began his career in physics and didn't make that leap to starting what is now one of the most famous semiconductor companies ever when he was 41. So did a whole chapter of his life in a completely different space before getting into this. The point being, the fear around this decision, when we reframe it in the context of the entire chapter and journey of our life, we have opportunities to make new decisions. So act now because life is short. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. So don't waste time and energy, your precious resource of time, in a space that isn't resonating with your heart and aligned with the things that Gina just shared with you and your legacy and your desires. But also remember that, Lord willing, you're going to have a lot of opportunity to continue to learn and make new decisions over the course of your life. And this isn't your last decision. You know, I've had clients, people at Google who have some of the biggest, most successful careers in software you could imagine, who come to me and say this exact same thing. Hey, I'm not sure if I want to keep going on this path. I mean, this is the path most of my clients want to figure out how to get onto. And they're saying, hey, I'm here and I may want to go a different direction. So give yourself permission to remember this is not your final decision, and it's okay to want to go another way down the road. And Gina and I will be here for you whenever that hits, if it's now or if it's 5 years from now. But Gina, go ahead and change the slide. You know, that's really what I wanted to share with you all. Just the arc of this, that when we reframe with the decision-making paradigms Gina just shared, when you recognize that failure is not one way, success the other, that our role is to make that decision, be decisive, and just start moving. All right. And then when you need specific insights, if you need coaching and mentorship around exact paths, let's go get that, right? Ask for help, whether it's from us or someone else. Go get the information you need. But remember that 40-70 rule, and don't wait until you have 100% of the information. On the screen here, Gina already alluded to it. Here's some new questions. You know, questions lead, answers follow. Questions lead, answers follow. Ask a better question. Ask a new question. I'd encourage you to grab a screenshot of this. I know Gina's going to share the slides afterwards with all the attendees. So you're going to have another way to reference these, but ask yourself some new questions rather than which is my right career path. See which of these might spur you towards some inspiration and some movement in that first small step. So again, Zach White, you can find me online and LinkedIn, all those places as well. But please give a ton of love to Gina. It's just an awesome thing to be here, and what she's doing for engineers in the STEM community is fantastic. It's a real pleasure to be a part of this. And if you need a life coach, if you need someone to support you in your engineering career path, definitely get with Gina and work with her. You're going to love it. But Gina, that's all I wanted to share for today.
Thank you so much, Zach. Wow, that 40-70 rule, so powerful. I am glad that you brought that up in your presentation. The quote from Zig Ziglar, also very, very powerful. And thank you for encouraging the audience to take a screenshot, because I'm going to stop sharing the slides here in a moment so we can view the questions and comments. And for those of you who are actually looking at this slide, let us know in the chat. Is there one that really resonates with you? Are you finding one of these questions more than the others really opens up your doors for you and kind of flexes your mind and makes you think of your career in different terms? So let us know which questions that you like here. And also, after this presentation is over, at any point in time, if you want to get into more details about something Zach talked about or something I talked about, just let us know, because our mission is to help people like you. That's what we do.